I'm going to start by apologizing for any honking you may hear in the background because, yeah, there's a lot of it. A lot of honking in the neighborhood and just around here in general right now. Uh, I don't know what to say. This was the best game Vancouver's played in the playoffs. Period. And I saw there was one fan I was going back and forth with in the comments after the last game who said Vancouver doesn't have a better game than this. Vancouver's playing their best hockey. They can't be better than this. Edmonton's clearly way better than Vancouver. And I just thought it was weird to talk with such certainty during a playoff series between teams that finished close to one another in the regular season. Now I understand that after Chris Knobloch takes over as coach, yes, the Oilers had a much better record than Vancouver did during that same period of time, but once you get into a best of seven series, you never know what's going to happen, right? Tonight I felt like the Canucks were much better on the penalty kill, much more focused. They were still sloppy in places. I'm not going to pretend that they weren't. But here we are. Pickard versus Shelovs in this one. And so in the event that for game 6, let's say a certain Thatcher Demko is good to go, I don't know that Canuck fans would mind if Shelovs got the start in the next game. I really don't. He started 8 in a row, and he's looked pretty good. That being said, Nugent Hopkins fires one wide from the slot, and 45 seconds in, Pius Suter gets a goalie interference call. And I just wrote oof after that because they do have to call that. I know Canuck fans mad at the referees because, of course, they are. It's standard. They just get mad at the refs. It's what they do. And I hate to say it as if I'm not a Canuck fan, but I don't get mad at the referees in these situations. I just looked at that and I'm like, yeah, Suter's got to make better decisions. So there's an early clear. The Oilers set up. There's a net feed to Draisaitl. Near miss. Puck's cleared out. And then there's a post for McDavid. So is that close? Draisaitl has a screenshot that's held. Another clear ends it. One shot on net for Edmonton on that power play. So that power play that's been running at 50% throughout the playoffs tonight, the Canucks contained it pretty well. But don't take this many penalties in the next game because that'll be in Edmonton and it won't end well. So, things are pushy on an icing by the Oilers. There wasn't a lot of that tonight either. Desharnais has a screenshot that's held. It's all Oilers to this point in the game. Janmark to Kulak near miss. Kane has a near miss on a wraparound, and then Kane scores. He gets that goal from Draisaitl and Desharnais at 4:34. And the Canucks were really flat. The Oilers in complete charge and ahead by a goal. That one goes 5-hole, and the Canucks to that point had no shots. So I'm not feeling very good at this point of the game as a Canuck fan because, Hughes then has a net feed that deflects out. The shots are 3-0 Edmonton, 6 minutes into the game. Höglander has a net feed. That's picked off. The Canucks press. The Oilers block. Keep them away from the net. Then the Oilers, or not yet. Brown has a rush chance. That's held. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a rush chance that blocks out. And then there's a delay game call. It was just Quinn Hughes. It's not a Quinn Hughes-like play to fire that one out, but they have to call that. So for fans who are all like, oh, the referees. They have to call that. It's a delay game call. It's like it's not one of those gray areas. So yeah, there you go. Then there's a shorthanded chance for Lindholm. He fans on that. The Oilers rush. They set up. They cycle. Nugent Hopkins has a shot that's blocked. More cycling. And then Miller has a rush chance that's blocked. Or no. Bouchard has a one-timer that's saved. It's cleared. And then there's a shorthanded chance for DiGiuseppe. That saved. DiGiuseppe had a very good game tonight for Vancouver. Another clear ends that power play. Now, Miller has a rush chance that's blocked. The shots are 4 apiece with 8 minutes left. So after a sloppy start for Vancouver, they get back into it and they start playing their game. So then the fans call a delay game penalty. The referee talks about it and doesn't. I have no idea whether that should have been or shouldn't have been, but they decided not to call it. I guess nobody saw for sure, or it deflected on the way out. Hyman then has a rush chance that's held. The Canucks press. Canucks passes are getting picked off. I'm getting ahead of myself here. The Canucks passes are getting picked off. The Oilers then get a third power play. I thought the Canucks were a little bit sloppy there. The ref is told that he sucks. There's an early clear, and then we have a minute and 33 seconds of 4-on-4 that follows that. Then there was a crossbar and out for Hughes. So you have I think it was a crossbar actually for McDavid as well. So there you go, 1-1 on the posts. The Oilers press with 5 minutes left. Everything gets killed off, though, with the 4-on-4 and then the power play on the other end. Desharnais has prevented a tying goal for Vancouver. He pulls that one out the same way as Martinook did earlier today for the Canes. Garland fires one high on a rush, and then on a turnover, Soucy wires one far corner to tie it. It goes past a screen at 17:27. So here you go. Vancouver's tied, not for long. At 17:49, after Susie wipes out, so this is during the same shift, Janmark gets a rush chance to go in the net from Brown. So for Janmark, I believe that's his first of the playoffs. Connor Brown with an assist. It's 2-1 Edmonton. So it's like, yay, it's tied, and it's not. Because that's how it's been working in these games the last couple. So it felt like, oh, are we in for another one of those games like the last one where the Canucks tie the game and then they don't. So after that, the Oilers look for another. Things are pushy at the horn. One of each team's taken off. It's a 4-on-4. And starting the second period, all I can think is, okay, it's a 4-on-4. Please, Vancouver, don't take a penalty, make it a 4-on-3. That's my number one concern there. So early back and forth is a bit sloppy in the second period, which is weird because it's 4-on-4. Draisaitl to Nurse near miss. The Canucks press at a minute and a half. Pettersson has a shot that saved. Elias Pettersson had his best game of the playoffs tonight. I don't think it's close. He was playing like the Pettersson that signed that big contract, not the Pettersson we've seen since that contract got signed. And yes, I do think that he may put more pressure on himself because of that contract. I think that might be part of what's been going on here. He's just definitely been fighting it. Garland gets boarded. They called it an interference. He looked like he got injured, that he jammed his hand, but the way he got up, I thought maybe it might have been his shoulder, but it's his hand. He didn't leave the game. Foegele goes to the box. Garland stays on the bench, and I think the fans booed because they wanted more than 2 minutes there. There's a nice save on Pettersson. The Oilers clear. They cycle. Miller's denied. More cycling. Pickard holds on. The power play's killed off. 3 shots on net for Vancouver. And then it's another turnover. Some sloppy hockey from Edmonton. And DiGiuseppe buries one at 5:14 to tie the game at 2. So DiGiuseppe again showing his value to the team. And again showing that having a good farm team in Abbotsford where the players play the same system really helps. DiGiuseppe can go down to Abbotsford, play there. Of course, Abbotsford's playoffs are over, but he could go down and play there, come up and play for the Canucks and all this fun stuff. And there are others as well. Oman's another example tonight. I thought Oman had a really good game. Canucks really needed to avoid giving up one right after. And they almost did because the teams trade rushes after that. But the shots on net are 6-0 for Vancouver at 7 minutes. Really good home game played by them. There are some chances for Pickard. Pickard had a great game. Much like Edmonton chanting for Shelovs, where Shelovs had a really good game last time out. Tonight it was Pickard having a really good game despite the chance. So it's almost as if they don't hurt the goalie's feelings at all. DiGiuseppe's denied on a fast break. The Canucks draw a power play. They cycle. Hughes has a shot that's saved. There's more cycling. Then there's a shorthanded rush by Foegele, and we get 47 seconds of 4-on-4. Fans litter the ice, which gives the Oilers a timeout. And I'm like, why do this? And then the announcer's like, hey, if you do this, we have the right to kick you out of the building or press charges or set you on fire. The normal thing that they tell you over the PA. And again, it's that kind of stuff that's going to get shown on highlight reels everywhere, is Canuck fans littering the ice over a penalty call during a game where both teams have been getting power plays. If you don't agree with the penalty, and I didn't think that Pettersson did anything to deserve getting penalized, but I'm not going to throw crap on the ice. I'm just not. And I've seen and heard from Yvonne, she's seen Canuck fans too defending throwing crap on the ice, but like, well, you got to protest the penalty, but you're giving the Oilers that extra time. That's the other problem, because now they got to clean up the ice, they got to do all this, and you're giving the Oilers basically a timeout to discuss what they're going to do when they get the power play. It just it doesn't make sense for me. So anyways, after that. There's Miller's rush chance is kicked aside. The ref is told that he sucks numerous times during this whole schmozzle. McDavid has a shot that's held. That power play ends up being killed off. So despite all the outrage, in the end, everything's all right. Everything gets killed off. Hronik is the next one denied on a rush. Oilers have a 3-on-2 that's defended. A net feed to Podkolzin's blocked as he played his first playoff game in his career. Puck's cleared out. The Oilers go to their 5th power play. This was their last power play of the game as well. McDavid has a net feed that's held. The Oilers cycle. There's a failed clear. The next try does work. The fans then call when the referee doesn't during the power play. McDavid to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is blocked. The Oilers again have some cycling, and then the Canucks clear. They kill it off. So again, they're all right. Susie then has a shot that's held. Hronik had a screenshot that's held. I thought Hronik had his best playoff game tonight. He still does not have a point in these playoffs. Is it troubling? Yes. Is it going to put the likelihood of the Canucks keeping him on an extension at risk? Probably. But yeah, I thought he had a good game tonight. Canucks press with 3 minutes left. Holloway has a rush chance that's held. It's 2-2 going into the third, or as I call it, cardiac Canuck time. So good early back and forth. Shelov's then guilty of a turnover, which causes some havoc in the Vancouver end. Not a huge fan of that, but it happens. Cole has a rush chance that's saved. Ryan had a rush chance that's defended. Miller then has a rush chance that's defended as well. So both coaches probably not happy with the amount of rushes that are going back and forth, but the shots on net are only one apiece 3.5 minutes in. Then there's a post for Höglander. So again, the post is the enemy of both teams in this one. Canucks draw a power play. There's an early clear. The Canucks cycle. Miller has a chance that's held. Besser has a shot that deflects out. Hughes has one that's saved. The rebound's cleared. And then a shorthanded break by Foegele is saved. So, to quote Yvonne in that moment, she said, oh no. Then there's a late cycle. Miller fires one wide. The power play is killed off. I think that was the end of the special teams for the night. Garland has a wraparound that saved. The teams trade rushes. The Canucks press at 7.5 minutes. There's a near miss for DiGiuseppe as the teams again trade rushes during the game. And again, DiGiuseppe, great game by him tonight. The Oilers are line juggling now, seeking offense, putting Draisaitl and McDavid back together on the same line. Shots are 6-5 for the Canucks, though, with 7 minutes left. And they did not allow a lot of chances the rest of the way either. Then there's a near miss for McDavid. The puck's cleared out. Next McDavid chance is fired wide. And I'm going to say, JT Miller, great job defending on McDavid in this series. Absolutely fantastic work by JT Miller. Player who last year, a lot of fans were talking about how horrible he is defensively. But once Rick Tocchet took over, that got better. And this year, he's been fantastic. So, the Oilers' play starting to pick up. You could see they were feeling it. Like, okay, we get a goal here. We can steal one and then go home. And we've got home ice advantage and we can round this out in 6. So the Oilers press with 2.5 minutes left. Draisaitl has a rush chance. That deflects out. And then, brief little press by the Canucks. Miller buries one in close on a rebound. Pettersson and Lindholm with the assists at 19:29. Did I panic and worry that it might be offside, that they might challenge it for something? Yep. As soon as there's like a pause there and the officials are talking, I'm like, oh no, please don't. Please. So the goalie gets pulled and the Canucks hang on. And I thought they played the best game they've played, at least in this series for sure. I would actually say this was better than any game they played in the Nashville series either. And now they lead 3-2. So I did have some concern that the Canucks would play their best game of the series and then lose the game because they've won games in this series. At least one of the two games they won before this one was maybe not their best game. But yeah, they're leading this series 3-2. And on Saturday, Vancouver-Edmonton will be the only game on that will have everybody's undivided attention. Should be interesting. Shots on net in this one, 11 apiece in the first, 17-4 Vancouver in the second, and then 8-7 Edmonton in the third. Final shots 35-23 for the Canucks. Power plays, Edmonton 0 for 5. That's not going to happen again. Vancouver 0 for 4. The hits 42-20 for Vancouver. They did a very good job of dictating the play out there. Pickard was excellent. 32 saves on 35 shots. There's no way he was going to save that one on Miller. That was a beautiful goal. And Shelov's 21 saves on 23 shots. But again, Miller really proving he's the MVP for the Canucks this year. Getting the game-winning goal. And again, being a big part of the reason why McDavid has been relatively quiet in this series. We'll see if that continues in Game 6. But for tonight, the Canucks have a 3-2 series lead. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Oh, I can breathe. This was the most tense I've felt in a very long time. Of course, if the Canucks do win this and move on to the next series, that's going to be the farthest they've gone in the playoffs since 2011. Bonkers, right? But either way, they have at least got a chance where if Edmonton wins, they now have Game 7 at home, if that does happen. But they have a chance now to go to Edmonton and steal one, and then face the winner of Dallas and Colorado. So for people following along at home, the magic number is 2. Combination of 1 win by Vancouver and 1 win by Dallas, and I would get like a dream matchup in the next round. Not saying it's going to happen, because I have seen these things get torn away from me before, but the fact that we're this close is insane to me. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.